Have you ever been in a relationship in which you said to yourself, my love will be enough? My love will be enough to make this person feel better, to heal. My love will be enough to change them, to fix them, to make them who I know they have the capacity and potential to be. And so you wait and you wait and you wait for them to change, for them to be different, for them to actually be able to see you, for them to actually be able to hear you, for them to actually be able to honor you. And the entire time you're sitting there feeling invisible and unheard and devalued, boundaries not being honored, voice not being really respected, your no being ignored, because you are wanting your love. You keep showing your love. You're wanting that to be enough. This is a very deeply rooted survival mechanism. And it's also rooted in the belief that your love can fill the void of another person. And therefore, you unconsciously have to sacrifice yourself, sacrifice what you really want, deny your own feelings and experience in order to make this person whole, because you believe that love is something we give or that comes outside of the self or at the expense of the self, instead of love being a state you can access within that is shared, that includes you. So I'm going to say it in a more simple way. When you find yourself in these relationship dynamics in which you are giving and giving more than you're receiving, or with a narcissistic partner, at the very, very core, before I say this, tune into your body, not your head. This is not logical. This is unconscious. At your very, very core, you do not believe that you are worthy of receiving love for being who you are. This can show up in the subconscious behavior of giving and giving love to others and being okay with not receiving. So even though you're frustrated, even though you're angry, even though you're feeling resentful, you're consistently allowing that other person to use you for their own benefit. You're allowing yourself to be devalued. This is painful. I've been there. It's an incredibly painful experience to honor and recognize the truth is that if somebody is taking from you and not giving, they're not hearing you and honoring your boundaries and seeing you, it's because they are not capable of giving you the love you deserve. And you tolerating that is you not loving you. And believe me, I say this with so much compassion and so much love because I have been there. I have been there wanting my love to fill others, wanting my love to be enough. But all of that love was going out of me. All of that love was going outside to other people. It was not including me. Now, here's the thing. You are not alone in this because this is the conditioning we have all received. That love comes at the expense of self, when true love comes from the self. The conditioning we have received is that it is unloving to have a self. It is unloving to think of yourself. It's unloving to have your own desires. Not to mention all the other thousands of beliefs that I've identified that are rooted in this historical belief that a woman is not divine, is not allowed to be sovereign, and therefore cannot experience freedom in relationships. Because relationships, as we continue to live them, were not based on equality and shared power and true love. They were based on literal possession of women as the property of man solely for his benefit. So men and women are both subject to these beliefs, not in a blaming, finger pointing way. Men suffer from these beliefs just as much as women in a very different way. It's not as obvious, but men suffer as well because they can't experience the kind of love that they desire either if they're not looking at and releasing themselves from these belief systems in order to self-source love, to self-source worthiness, to self-source power and value and identity. And that sovereignty to self-source, because what happened is that when you are giving and giving, unconsciously, all of these energetic and emotional cords exist between you and the other person. I'm giving, maybe subconsciously, because if I give you this, you'll love me more, right? That creates a cord. Or that person is needing your love to know themselves as worthy. And so that creates a cord. And it creates codependency, unhealthy attachments, narcissist, empath. I'm going to fill your void. You're going to fill my void. It's lack, meeting lack. Again, no particular fault to you. This is collective. And the only way to heal it is for you, each individual, to begin to pull back the way you have given your power away, given your authority away, and self-source through a combination of anchoring into self deeply, your soul, your divinity, your true divine power, your authentic self, and releasing the beliefs, the absorbed conditioning, the karmic contracts, the soul traumas, the ancestral patterns that have kept you sourcing very unconsciously from another. And this shows up not necessarily in what you're thinking with your conscious mind, but what you are feeling in your body, because your body holds your subconscious. And 95% of our behavior, including in relationships, is based on the subconscious mind. So until you make it conscious, you're repeating these patterns in relationships that do not serve you. Not being able to speak and express and honor your boundaries, silencing your truth to make others comfortable, to avoid conflict. The list goes on and on and on. And what I have discovered through my own lived embodied path of reclaiming my sovereignty to create freedom in relationships, which is not contingent on the other person agreeing or allowing or giving me permission, but is my own internal state of freedom that overflows and creates freedom in all relationships, because I will not tolerate anything but, because I'm able to source within and no longer create energetic attachments and unhealthy attachments that are not in alignment with true love. I've also researched religious history, ancient civilizations, mythology, done so much self-study and received massive amounts of spiritual guidance that I've pulled together in an offering that I want to invite you into. There is a free 2-hour online experiential workshop to revolutionize your relationships that I'm offering on Friday, February 9th, 2024 at 2 p.m. Eastern time. You can find your own time zone below. If this calls to you, if you are heart-led, sensitive, if you are tired of experiencing repetitive patterns in your relationships, regardless of who you're with, it could be your family, it could be your partner, it could be in your work life. And you know that if you want to experience relationships differently, you have to show up differently. Because your relationship with yourself is what sets the foundation for your relationships with others. And you're willing to do the deep emotional, embodiment, energetic work to release the subconscious, and it heals your soul. This is soul freedom. This passes through all lifetimes and all time and space, because the soul is eternal. And shift the trajectory of your relationships, whether it be the one you're in, one you're not in, one that's coming to you, so that you're no longer engaging in any form of self-sacrifice or self-denial. Now this, I'll put the link below, but this 2-hour free online workshop is a foundational piece to a 5-month portal of transformation to revolutionize your relationship. You may or may not continue forward into that 5-month portal. Your soul is going to know, your heart is going to know if that is for you. But this particular 2-hour workshop is a foundational prerequisite. So it is full of information on how this historical context and these core beliefs trace back and continue to affect us, but more specifically, how they show up for you, how they show up in your relationships, so that you can then consciously create the relationships you desire to experience, no longer beholden to the past. Like, you free yourself. That's what this is about. You free yourself. Because if you remain in these patterns of, I can change you and then I can be free, I can love you enough and then I can receive the love I deserve, right? Because that's what that's saying. I can love you enough that you're going to eventually love me. That is completely giving your power away. And I want you to be in your power, your true power, and reclaim it for yourself, for the world, to experience freedom. Jessica Falcon, The Path to Sovereignty. So much love to you, and I will look forward to seeing you there. Mwah.